Welcome to She Trusts Herself, the podcast for women who are learning to trust themselves, honor their inner voice, and choose themselves without guilt. I'm your host, Tash Leem, author, guest speaker, and certified human design reader. Together, we'll explore overcoming self-doubt, building deep self-trust, personal growth, and stepping into the next version of yourself with confidence. Welcome back. In today's episode, I want to talk to you about having a look to see who has what level of access to you and reframing the way that you look at this, because growing up, you're likely taught that everyone has full access to you no matter what. And then as an adult, you've grown and evolved, and maybe you've realized that you don't want to actually let everyone in and give that full version of yourself away for free. This is something that has taken me a lot of years to accept and come full circle with, and that's why I wanted to share this in the episode with you. It's not about becoming cold or unavailable to others or shutting yourself off from the outside world. It's about growth, protecting your energy, and all of the work that you've done to become this version of yourself that exists in this moment, and also the future versions of yourself. It's about recognizing that your energy, time, and your emotional capacity is not to be given away freely. It's something to be valued. And that's what happens when you start to value yourself as a person and you understand how worthy you are, and you get to make the rules and create the boundaries around that. The way that I managed to wrap my head around this was looking at it like it's a Netflix subscription. With Netflix, there's a few different tiers. You've got the basic tier, and this is for people that get your presence. This tier is for strangers and acquaintances, where you stay very surface level and they know about you, but they don't know intimate details about your life. You keep it very professional if it's in a workplace, or very casual if it's in a social setting. Then we have the middle or standard tier, and this is usually reserved for your outer circles. So these are people in your orbit that get your time, input, support, but there's limits and caveats around it. So they know parts of your story and parts of your personal journey, but they don't have the full picture. You may go to them for certain things within your life. They may be your go-to person if you want advice about friendship or work or whatever the case may be, but you limit that access and that conversation to certain topics. Then we have our top tier, our premium tier. This is reserved for people within your inner circle. So these are the people that have earned the right to have full access to you. So they know who you are at your core, the raw, real, vulnerable version of you, and you've let them into your inner world. It's not about playing games with people or shutting people out. It's just about being clear as to who gets what level of access to you. And you're allowed to change that access at any given time too. So there might be a situation, and I'll give you a personal example. While I was pregnant, there were comments made to me, and I realized, okay, I thought we had a deeper, stronger relationship than what we actually do. They started out at the premium top tier. By the time that our son arrived, they ended up moving down to the basic tier. And that was for self-preservation, because I realized our relationship wasn't what I thought it was. So I went, for my own peace of mind, I am choosing to restrict your level of access to me. It reached a point where I had called them out on a few things that I didn't necessarily appreciate, and I realized that they weren't willing to see it from my perspective. And I thought, I don't want to have that type of relationship. I don't have capacity for that in my life right now. So I made that decision. It may seem harsh to other people, but at the end of the day, they're not in your shoes living your life. So it's about doing what feels right for you. And you don't have to go about it in a nasty way. You can be kind about it, whether you choose to have a conversation with them or maybe distancing yourself from them. With this tiered subscription and managing who has access to you, it's not about being a cold-hearted person. It's not about putting up walls. It's not about shrinking and becoming a chameleon. It's about owning your self-worth, protecting your capacity, honoring your growth and evolution and who you've
become and are becoming, and accepting that you get to choose who gets to see you, and figuring out who you want near you as you're moving through life. And that is allowed to change. I used to have very limited boundaries with this. I would give people full access to myself, and I would get frustrated and feel disappointed if I was super vulnerable and open with them and it wasn't received well. I realized I need to look at having a tiered approach and having a look to consider who has what level of access to me and what level I want to give them from the start. And then from there, I can either move up or down depending on how I feel about things. I was really just giving premium access to people that hadn't earned it. It just didn't make me feel great. And I didn't want to get to the point where I cut everyone out of my life, because I do love people. It's knowing who will be there for you. And there'll be moments in your life that probably are eye-opening, and you take off the rose-colored glasses and you go, okay, I thought this person would be here for me in this situation, in this capacity, and maybe they weren't. Then there'll be other people who may surprise you and you go, I didn't think we had that kind of relationship, but they have shown up for me in a way that I didn't expect. From there, you can move up and down as you like. The reason why looking at who has access to you in this capacity is important is because every time that you grow and level up in life, your energy becomes more potent, because you become more solidified in who you are, what you stand for, and what you're doing. You want people around you, especially in your closest circle, that are going to support you. They may not see the picture as clearly as you do yet or at all, but provided that they can still support you and be there for you, that's incredibly important, because you don't want people with full access to you who are making you doubt yourself and implying that you can't do it. Who you surround yourself with is incredibly important, especially when it's the people that are closest to you, which is why we need to monitor this. Your time becomes more valuable, and also your emotional capacity to give. If you try to give 100% or premium access to every single person in the world, there would be nothing left of you, because giving that much to everyone else is exhausting and you have a limited capacity for it. It's not about being a selfish person or anything like that. It's just knowing your own capacity and knowing what you've got space for. And there'll be times in your life where are more available to other people to offer support. And then there'll be other times where your priorities shift and you have to go inward and really focus on yourself and what you've got going on right now. For instance, becoming a mum. I had to really go inward, and my ability to be there for other people was significantly impacted because I had to take care of myself. I needed to physically heal, emotionally process labor and everything that happened, because overnight my life and my husband's life changed. We went from being super independent to having a newborn that was completely dependent on us, and it was our job to make sure that our baby was safe, being nurtured and loved. And that just became our focus. That was the bubble that we were in. And I just didn't have that capacity that I otherwise would have for other people. There will be people that have been in the middle tier and you go, okay, I just want to see how they'll go if I give them full access to me. And maybe it doesn't work out through no one's fault, and you can go back to how things were. There's no harm in kind of experimenting and maybe promoting people or demoting them, which sounds not great, but it's honestly just keeping in mind what's working best for you. You're not being dramatic, you're not being too much, and you're not being like hard to reach. You're just no longer offering unlimited access to people who haven't earned it. You don't have to make people apply for the different tiers. It's just knowing how well you connect, what that relationship is and what stage of it it's in. It's you getting to choose who gets your wisdom, your presence, your time, your softness, your caring nature, access to your gifts and your ideas, the love that you have, and who gets an insight into how your life is on a deeper level. Because that level of vulnerability, whether it's in an intimate relationship or a platonic, is hard to do. You don't want to have people there that are maybe in it for the wrong reasons. Maybe that's just because they're really curious about your life and not actually about wanting to be there for you. Or maybe they see you as like competition. So it's just, okay, if I get a backstage pass to this person, then I get to see what their thought process is and things like that. Obviously, most people, they're not going to go into relationships with that frame of mind or that underlying motive, but it's just about that balance between, okay, this is the level of access I'm comfortable with, and working out where they fit into that equation. If you're open to it, do an audit of who has what level of access to you. So have a think about who has the top tier premium access, but maybe hasn't earned it. Who deserves an upgrade? Who needs a downgrade? Who no longer gets access at all? Once we start to get super clear on who gets access to us, then we start to feel better. Because if you've got people in your life that you're maybe holding on to and the relationship has faded or changed, and you're still trying to force it to exist at the level it was previously, even though it no longer feels right for you and the other person, then you're doing each other a disservice. It's being honest about the chapter that relationship is in. If a relationship is ending, say if you're going to cut someone out, I know that that can feel really uncomfortable. And I just want you to remember that when you're brave enough to close that door, it's not necessarily forever. It could just be a pause. It's freeing up that emotional and mental capacity, because the amount of time that you would probably spend on, oh, I don't really want to like hang out with this person, or I feel like I'm trying and they're not putting in any work, is really exhausting. And if you free up that space, then it gives someone else the opportunity to fill it. And that could be the relationship that you actually need right now too. This is how you can start to reclaim your energy without guilt, without having to apologize. How eldest daughters stop over-functioning because they're no longer over-giving and over-watering a relationship that doesn't deserve it anymore. And how high-achieving women stop leaking their time, energy, and power, and sometimes even dimming their spark. Because if you're surrounded by people that aren't supportive and you can't talk to, are just wanting to give you solutions and not actually see, hear, or understand you, it feels really exhausting, because you may be surrounded by people and still feel lonely, and that's not a feeling that anyone should have to experience. By doing this audit and having that reflection, then this is how you can step into the version of yourself that knows her worth. And it's not because you say, I'm so worthy 20 times a day, is because you're doing the action and the brave thing. Evaluating your relationships is really hard and it can feel really uncomfortable, but trust me, it's worth it.
And that's a wrap on another episode. If this one resonated with you, I'd love for you to subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss any future conversations, and share it with someone else who's learning to trust herself again. You can connect with me on Instagram, Tash, where I share more about self-trust, personal growth, and human design. If you'd like to go deeper, you can explore my books and offerings, all designed to support you as you build self-trust and step into the next version of yourself with confidence. Until next time, please remember that you're not too much or too little. You're just you. Keep choosing yourself.